Welcome everyone to Stumo Online. So excited to have you join us today for the very first broadcast that we've ever done. I'm coming at you from my living room, like most of us are probably watching from right now. We'd actually love to hear where you're at. So in the chat right now, tell us where you're listening from. We know we got people from campuses like TCU, Missouri State, UCO, but we also got people all over the place who are home. And so we'd love to hear from you guys right now. We are seeing this as an awesome opportunity to continue to grow in our relationships with God, to continue to pursue Him in light of a new situation, right? We're living in light of a new thing. And the main feeling I've been feeling, at least recently, has been disappointment. Maybe you can relate with that. But as I've heard plans change and things that I had going in the next couple of weeks just aren't happening anymore, disappointment's been a big word I've been hearing and feeling myself. And so when I think about that, I actually go back to when I was 13. I want to get to know you guys a little bit, so I'm going to open up the door of my life. And so when I was 13 years old, I had a pretty disappointing thing happen. I had a big weekend plan. I was going to go to my buddy's bar mitzvah on Friday, and then on Saturday, I had laser tag planned. I mean, when you're 13, right, that's incredible. That's what you want to be doing. Your body's changing. Your voice is changing. There's going to be girls on Friday, but I'm with the boys on Saturday. There's a lot going, and I'm so excited. But on Thursday, I get grounded. On Thursday, I get grounded, and I wish I could tell you guys, hey, and I know what I did. I snuck out the night before. I did this really big, I don't know. I can't even tell you. I don't remember what I did. But I remember that I got grounded, and the predominant feeling I felt was disappointment. I was frustrated. I wasn't doing what I thought I was going to be doing, unfortunately. And so when I think about this, have you guys ever felt that way? Have you ever felt disappointment, given the situation, again, that we're in right now with COVID-19? To feel that, hey, my freshman year was cut off, my sophomore year was cut off, my junior year was cut off, my senior year was cut off. I'm disappointed, I'm frustrated. My spring break plans were canceled. My summer plans have been canceled. Man, disappointment's all around us right now, but what do we do with that? What can we do with those feelings? And so I want to talk about that today. And so some of this, again, is bad from Corona. We're seeing that this virus is affecting all of us, and I do hope that you're being healthy out there and making wise decisions. But how do we learn about God in this situation? What can we do there? And I think I want to present a new angle for us. Again, it's very normal to feel disappointed right now. But a new angle in all of this is that it relates to our relationship with God, that ultimately we aren't in control. We're not the ones in control, right? We have zero control of when this is done. We can't tell the virus to, hey, be done at this date so I can do what I want to do. We have no control when school starts back like normal, right? As we all go to Zoom a bunch and we learn all these new ways to learn, we're not in control of that. We're not in control in how our governments make decisions in regards to how quickly do we get to get out of our house? How quickly are we going to get help? And so those are all things that are out of our control. But do you realize this thing that's true? We weren't in control of that to begin with. We weren't in control of that before Corona. But this is highlighting that truth, right? That we have not been the ones in control in the same way that I thought I was in control of my weekend back in 2003, 13 years old, acne on my face, all that stuff. I thought that I was in control of that, but my parents were, right? They shut it down. It was done. I was not in control. I thought I was, but I wasn't. In a similar situation to right now, we all had plans. We all had things that we were going to be doing over the next couple weeks. But we're seeing that ultimately we're not the ones in control. So who is in control? God, right? God is in control. That's what's amazing about this. And when I say that, I think about the beginning of the Bible, right? Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, He created the heavens and the earth. How incredible is that God would create the heavens and the earth? So to me, that sounds like a man in control, right? That sounds like someone who knows what's going on. But if you and I were there today, right, if we were to go back in time and to see God create the heavens and the earth, man, it would look chaotic, right? I would bet it would be very scary. It would feel that we are very out of control. We don't know what's coming, but here we are, right? With social distancing and everything, here we are. And we can see that God uses that chaos and that frustration to bring life. We saw Him do that when He created everything. And we see Him doing that today as well. When I think about this idea of doing crazy stuff and seeing how life can come from it, I think of Disney World. Again, maybe you're with me on this, but I think of the teacup ride, right? When you've got the handle and you're spinning that thing, right? You're going and it's so much fun and you're loving it. But it can kind of get a little to a point where you're like, what the heck is going on? I'm kind of scared right now, but you're holding the grip and you're just trying to like time your head enough to try and see the operator. And when you see him, what is he doing? Nothing. He's chilling, right? He's got nothing going because he knows he's in control. He knows if he presses the red button, it stops. And if he presses the green button, it goes. We can feel like that in life, right? That we're in this teacup where we think we're the ones pulling the middle center thing that spins us and that we feel a little out of control right now. But God is in control, ultimately. And I don't just say that God is in control, and all you got to do is get that tattooed on your tricep, and you're good to go. That's not the application of this talk. We want to bring peace. And what's so awesome about this is that God, when we hear that he's in control, that should bring us peace that transcends all understanding, right? That we should find peace in the fact that God is in control and we are not. That isn't something to control us or to say, hey, you just don't get it. Man, we don't get it. That's okay. God does, and he ultimately is the one in control. He's always been in control pre-corona and post-corona. He will be the one ultimately in control. So I want to check out this verse for us tonight. Psalm 46:1 that I love, and again, I hope for you, maybe it's a verse you even memorize over the next couple weeks. I don't know if you have the time. Actually, I do know you do. So try to memorize this verse. It's a real short one. It's a quick one. I want to break it down for us. But Psalm 46:1 says this: God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. He is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. So how incredible is that God would offer that to us, that he would be that for us? That's awesome. And we need to take that to heart. Again, given the situation, we're all in different spots right now. Some of us have family members who have been directly affected by what's going on. We're not here to make light of that situation. And so we need to take heart and recognize that God is the one in control and that he is our refuge and strength. I want to break down a couple of those words real fast. The first one being refuge. It's shelter from danger or falsehood. I love that definition because right now, how many Facebook posts and Instagram posts have you seen with maybe some falsehood, right? Everyone's got an uncle who's got a cousin who's got a girlfriend who's got a friend who works at the CDC and they're telling us that everything's going to shut down tomorrow, right? We hear that, but God protects us from falsehood. And so again, we don't know how long this is going to last. We don't know a lot of things right now that are concrete, but God will be the one to protect us. He is our refuge. Maybe you even heard about the meteor that was supposed to come and destroy the earth like 4 days ago. And it didn't happen, but God protects us from that stuff. And that's awesome. He shelters us. God is in control. The next word we want to look at is just strength. And so God and God alone can give us the might and fortitude to endure this present situation. Again, sitting at home right now, it can be really hard. We can all be in different situations, but God alone is the one who provides the strength. It's not going to be another Instagram check. It's not going to be another tweet. It's not going to be another Netflix show to binge. It's going to be God. And we need to be digging in and kind of pushing and leaning in to this situation and growing in our relationship with God. That's the point, again, of Stumo Online, is to help us connect in a community setting, even when we're not sitting next to each other. And it gives us the strength to get through this, from classes being short, from maybe family members losing jobs, to living at home in maybe a hard situation. Ultimately, guys, God is in control. And it says that he's ever present. And that's what I love about this next part of the passage in Psalm 46:1. He's ever present, so he's always there. It's not just he's always to be found. He doesn't show up when he needs to. He's always there. He's ever present intimately with us through all of this, which is so, again, comforting, guys. This is where the peace of God can come from, to understand that he's with us. We are not alone in this, that he is there to help. And think of a time, even in your own life, where someone really helped you, not just like they opened the door for you, but you were in a dire need and someone helped you. Man, that's what God is there to do for us. That's why he's there. He's there to love us and to care for us in this hard time that we're all kind of walking through together. So here's how I kind of envision this idea of God being our shelter and our strength and our ever-present helper. Is I think about walking through a field. Again, try to envision whatever you guys want to. This is just how I think about it. But I envision myself walking through this kind of muddy, wet, open field that just kind of gross, right? As I pick up my feet, they're sticking in the mud. But I'm walking through and it's raining and it's just cold enough where it's not quite snow. I live in Colorado, so I see that a lot. But it's like really cold and maybe even a little bit of hail, right? So I'm like kind of getting hit by the hail and I'm not wearing a jacket. I'm just wearing a t-shirt and it's cold. And man, it sucks. And I'm trudging through this muddy, gross field. And I see like a cabin or something in front of me, right? That's warm. There's light in it. I can see there's a fire. There's maybe even a pot over it kind of cooking some soup or something. And I envision a man opening the door and saying, hey, come in. Like, come be a part of what we're doing. Maybe there's a family there as well. Maybe they're doing a puzzle. I'm a big puzzle guy. But they're there, and you can feel the warmth. They give me new clothes, right? They replace my wet clothes with warm ones. They give me a bowl of soup. They're there to support me. That's how I envision God, being that man, opening that door and saying, hey, come in. Let me be your shelter. Let me be this for you. I want to be your ever-present helper. And I love that vision, that story, because I think of my own life and what I went through personally when I made the decision to trust Christ. When I was a freshman in college at the University of Tulsa, I made that decision because I had a lot of hard things happen in my life up to that point. I'd seen a lot of things not go the way that I hoped they would. I wasn't in control of my life, and I felt that very, very strongly at that point in my life. And I still do, because I recognize the truth that ultimately God is in control. But when I made that decision to trust Christ, it was awesome to feel that sense of having to feel like I have to have it all together, release. That I could actually trust God and know that, hey, He's in control, so when things don't go the way I thought they would, or that I was controlling them to, playing chess, right, doing everything that I think should happen, I could trust that. I could trust that God had what was best in mind for me, and I love that. And so, guys, now is the time to draw near to God. Now is the time to go into that cabin. Now is the time to recognize that, hey, you're not in control, and you weren't before this, and you won't be after this. So let's accept that. Let's live in light of that. Let's not distance ourselves. Let's apply Psalm 46:1 and dive in and recognize that God is our shelter and our strength. And so in our lives, maybe, again, for us, that could look like what we talked about in the podcast earlier this week, of getting into the Bible, starting to read that with a friend, or setting up a time to call people daily and check in on a Bible reading plan or something like that, just to dig in and to understand. And another thing to do is to pray. We'll talk more about this in the coming weeks. But how can I give this to God? How can I pray where I'm not just sitting there having anxiety and stress and worry and frustration with all of it, but I can give it to Him and I can trust Him with it? And so we are so, guys, excited for Stumo Online and what this could be for us. And so we are so thankful for you being a part of what we're doing right now. I'm going to pray for us real quick just to wrap us up, and then we'll be talking to Alex. Lord, we just come to right now to thank you for this time. Lord, to thank you that you are in control. And Lord, I pray that we would be men and women who are people following after you, and that we would recognize that you're ultimately in control. So when things don't go the way we thought they would, Lord, that we would trust you with that we would give it to you, and we continue to pursue you, Lord, that we would see you as our refuge and strength and ever-present helper. We thank you so much for that, Lord. In your Son's name we pray. Amen. Thanks, guys.